Welcome to Bible Talk Insight. I'm so glad you're joining us for this main episode. Today, we're going to be looking at something incredible: how to find Jesus in the story of the conquest of Canaan. It's a book that can seem a little tough, full of battles, but what if I told you it's pointing to something so much bigger? Before we jump in, hey, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And find us on Facebook. Just search for Bible Talk Insights. We post daily encouragement there, and it's a great place to continue the conversation. All right, let's dive in. We're starting with this powerhouse verse from 1 Corinthians. It says, "Now these things happened to them as an example, but they were written down for our instruction." This is the key that unlocks everything. The Bible is telling us right here that these old stories, like Joshua's, aren't just history lessons. They were written for us, for you and me, today. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to see why this ancient story is so important. We'll talk about a guy named Joshua and how he's like a shadow. Then we'll meet the real substance, Jesus. After that, we'll see what this all means for our own spiritual battles, and we'll end with the incredible hope this points to: a world without pain. It's going to be good. Okay, first up, an ancient story today. Why on earth should we, in our busy lives, care about a military story from thousands of years ago? Well, like we just saw, the Bible itself tells us these stories are packed with instruction for us. They're examples.
So to really get this, we need to understand a concept that Bible scholars call typology. Now, don't let the word scare you. It's actually a beautiful idea. It just means that God wove these amazing patterns and previews into real history in the Old Testament that all purposefully point forward to a greater spiritual reality that's fulfilled in Jesus.
A really simple way to think about it is like a shadow. A shadow isn't the real thing, right? But it gives you a perfect outline, a clear shape of the person who's coming. That's exactly what's happening here. Joshua is the shadow, and Jesus, he's the person. He's the real substance. Let's move into our next point and take a closer look at Joshua himself. How exactly was he this powerful shadow of the ultimate leader to come? Well, it actually starts with his name. I mean, you can't make this up. The name Joshua in Hebrew is Yeshua, which is the exact same name as Jesus. And guess what both names mean? They both mean Savior or the Lord saves. The connection is right there from the very beginning. And it gets even cooler. Look at how Joshua's life intentionally echoes these major moments from Moses' life. Moses crosses the Red Sea, Joshua crosses the Jordan. Moses meets God at the burning bush and is told to take off his sandals. Joshua meets the commander of the Lord's army and is told the very same thing. Both of them renew the covenant with God. You see what's happening? God is setting Joshua up as the new leader for a new generation, creating a pattern that points to an even greater leader. Okay, this brings us right to the heart of it all. We've seen the shadow. Now let's look at how this all finds its ultimate fulfillment in Jesus, the true substance. So this really begs the question, right? If Joshua was the shadow, who is the substance his entire life was pointing toward? And this chart just lays it out so clearly. Same name, Yeshua, Savior. Joshua's mission, he leads his people into the physical promised land of Canaan. But Jesus' mission, he leads his people into the true promised land, the true rest of salvation. Joshua conquers physical enemies in Canaan. Jesus conquers the ultimate enemies, sin, death, and all the spiritual forces of darkness. It's a perfect fulfillment. And this isn't just something we're making up. The book of Hebrews makes this connection crystal clear. It tells us that a promise of entering God's rest still remains. It's basically saying, hey, what Joshua did was amazing, but it was just a symbol. The real, lasting spiritual rest is found in Jesus, so don't miss out on it. So what does this all mean for us, right here, right now, for the church today? How do we take this amazing story and apply it to our own lives? Let's talk about our spiritual conquest. Remember that verse from 1 Corinthians? Well, Paul goes on to warn us to learn from Israel's mistakes in the wilderness before they entered the promised land. He says, look, don't set your heart on evil things, don't be idolaters, don't test Christ, don't grumble. He's telling us not to fall into the same traps of disobedience and unbelief because just like for them, God always provides a way out of temptation for us. And here's the crucial point. Just as Joshua led a very real, physical battle, the Bible tells us that we are in a spiritual battle. Ephesians says we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spiritual powers. So you see, the conquest of Canaan is this incredible parallel for our own spiritual warfare today.
All right, let's move to our final point. This is where this incredible pattern gives us our ultimate hope for the future. We're talking about a world without pain.
Think about it. The land of Canaan, this place described as flowing with milk and honey, was just a foretaste. It was a beautiful symbol of our ultimate home, the real promised land, the new heavens and the new earth that God has promised, a restored, perfect world. And this is the beautiful conclusion of the whole story. As Bible scholars have pointed out, Joshua's story is ultimately pointing to this picture of a world without pain, suffering, and death. It's a hope for a world where God will wipe every tear from our eyes. What an amazing promise. So we'll leave you with this to think about. How does knowing Jesus, the true Joshua, change the way you face your battles today? Knowing that he has already secured the ultimate victory, how does that empower you in your daily struggles? Thank you so much for listening. We really pray this was a blessing to you. Be sure to check out our bonus and supplemental episodes for more on this topic. And please, if this encouraged you, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. We'll talk to you next time on Bible Talk Insight.